Good morning. My name is Bob and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Bob.
Ah, wrong meeting. My name is Bob and I'm a military brat. And I'm here this morning to talk to you about the Brat Pen. This is a pen created by brats for brats to honor and recognize their service, our service to this nation. I want to share the story of how this pen all came about and why I think this project is so important. I'm going to pull heavily from Pat Conroy's introduction to Mary Edward Wersch's book, Military Brats, Legacies of Childhood Inside the Fortress. I'm going to use his narrative to tell my story. And why do I think this is important? One of the lessons I learned from a book entitled The Spirituality of Imperfection is, when a man comes to you and tells you your own story, you know that your sins are forgiven. And when you are forgiven, you are healed. In the context of being a brat, I think this morphs into when a man comes to you and tells you your own story, you know that you are not alone anymore and that you belong. I spent a great deal of my life feeling that I didn't belong. And this is what the Brat Pen is all about, to bring us together. I began reading Mary's book in the late 90s. I breezed through Conroy's introduction at first, but there was something in it that grabbed me. I kept coming back to it, searching. There was something there. I didn't know what it was, but it was there. I want to share here three of the more prevalent passages, and in this vein give you an appreciation for how this thing began to grab hold. To do this, I'm just going to, rather than paraphrase off notes or whatever, I'm just going to read right from the book here. So, the first thing he says is, I think being a military brat is one of the strangest and most interesting ways to spend an American childhood. To take this, the things that we saw as kids, the things that we did, the values that were instilled in us, honor, respect, tolerance. Those are some of the things I learned from being a brat. And then he says, we grew up as strangers to ourselves. And this took me to another aspect of being a brat. A deeper, I hate to use the word dark, but maybe that's part of it. From there, he goes on to say, when I can find number 3, each year I began my life over again. I grew up knowing no one well, least of all myself, and I think it damaged me. I grew up not knowing if I was smart or stupid, handsome or ugly, interested or insipid. I was too busy reacting to the changing landscapes and climates of my life to get a clear picture of myself. I was always leaving behind what I was about ready to become. I could never catch up to the boy I might have been had I grown up in one place. That's really ironic because while in the Air Force, I was always telling kids I was from White House, Ohio. And now that I live in White House, Ohio, when I'm asked where I'm from, I just say the Air Force. I don't think I'm alone that way. The next thing that grabbed my attention was when he talks about, this is my paradox. Because of military life, I'm a stranger everywhere and a stranger nowhere. I can engage anyone in a conversation, become well-liked in a matter of seconds, yet there's a distance. There's a distance I can never recover, a slight shiver of alienation, of not belonging, and an eye on the nearest door. The word goodbye will always be a killing thing to me, but so is the word hello. You know, it's not really until I drive through the front gate of an Air Force base or an Army post actually any military installation, that I really feel at home. I've got a wonderful home here, but it's there's something about it that I just don't know how to explain. We'll just leave it at that. He then goes on to say, toward the end of the introduction, when he's talking about military brats, he says, "Military brats, my lost tribe." And what a wonderful way to explain who we are, a tribe. Spent our entire youth in the service to this country, and no one even knew we were there. That's what began to get to me. All these other things imprinted on me, but it was when I got to hear that it started to really resonate. No one knew we were there, and I began thinking, well, why not? As he wraps up his introduction, he says we had never, he's talking about brats here again, we'd never stopped to honor ourselves out loud for our understanding service to America. And again, why not? Then as he gets to the end here, he talks about bringing us all together. It's on a field. And he says, I imagine that all of us could meet on some impeccably manicured field, all the military brats, in a gathering so vast that it would be like the assembly of some vivid and undauntable army. We could come together on this parade ground at dusk, million-voiced, and articulating our ancient and our secret anthems of hurt and joy. We could praise each other in voices that understood both the magnificence and the pain of our transient lives. Our greatest tragedy is we don't know each other. That's about as far as I could get for many years, because I felt lost in the not knowing. Then he continues, at the end of our assembly, we could pass in review in a parade of unutterably beauty. As brats, we've watched 1,000 parades on 1,000 weekends. We've shined shoes and polished brass and gotten every bedroom we've ever slept in ready for Saturday morning inspection. A parade would be a piece of cake for the brats, military brats of the world. I would put our fathers in the reviewing stand and require that they come in full dress uniform and in the prime of life. I want our fathers handsome and strong and feared by the armies of the world the day they attend our parade. To the ancient beat of drums, we could pass those erect and silent rows of father. What a fearful word father is to so many of us, but not on this day. When the marchers keep perfect step and the command for eyes right roars through our disciplined ranks, and we turn to face our fathers in that crowd of warriors. In this parade, these men would understand the nature and the value of their children's sacrifice for the first time. Our fathers would stand at rigid attention. Then they'd begin to salute us, one by one. And in that salute, that one sign of recognition, of acknowledgement, they would thank us for the first time. They would be thanking their children, their own children, for that, their fortitude and courage and generosity and long suffering for a military childhood. This was my inspiration and has been my motivation for the creation of the BratPin. 4 years ago, in December 2009, I contacted Bob Latta via email, and I floated the idea to him through that email, and 5 hours later I received a call from one of his horse holders. I'm sorry, one of his staff members. I think that staff member was the guy that was designated to hold his horse. At any rate, he wanted to know more about the idea. So we talked a bit, and then in May 2010, Bob introduced legislation H.R. 5333, the Children of Military Service Members Commemorative Lapel Pin Act. You know, that's a mouthful to say for a pin for military brats. I think the children of military service members, while being politically correct, I think that dilutes who I am and what I am. I worked hard for that title of military brat. I can share stories on another presentation, maybe at a later date. In March 2011, because the bill died, the original bill died, Bob reintroduced it as H.R. 1014. That bill sat for 2 years in committee before it died. So this spring, in May 2013, he introduced H.R. 1889. The prognosis as of today has a 2% chance of getting out of committee and a 0% chance of being enacted upon. And this is December 12th. This is soon probably the end of their working year, so I don't think it's going to be enacted upon this year. So in late July, I decided to go my own way with this BratPin. I never held any doubt that such an idea had merit for having read Pat's book, and with my experience, there was never any doubt. I just was a little bit uncertain about the design of the pen. And that's another reason why I decided to go it my own way, is because in the bill, they specify that once it's passed, the pen goes to the Army Department of Heraldry for design and approval. I just shudder when I think of a collection of bureaucrats sitting around a cherry table in a conference room trying to come up with some design that's acceptable for all of us. Ooh, that gives me the chills. So I joined a few Facebook groups and began floating the idea, and the reception was both enthusiastic and humbling. There are plenty of brat pens out there already on the market, pens and coins and dog tags. But I don't think any of them convey the sense of recognition coupled with the honor and dignity I was searching for. And so I came back to Pat again, where he says in the introduction, "We have no special markings." And I thought, well, why not create one? So I started looking around for ideas, and stumbled upon the dandelion, the official flower of the military child. And I wasn't real shot in the head with the idea at first, but the more I thought about it and what the significance of it is, the more it made sense to me. And then another brat suggested I encircle it with a dog tag chain as the border. And I thought, oh, how clever. And then someone else another brat suggested the wording for the reverse side. And over the period of maybe 30 days, that's kind of the way it came together. Initially, we just had the flower on there, but I wanted something with a dynamic to it, with a little bit of movement in it. So we started pulling the seeds out, and that's what the original brat has on the original BratPin. As we got into the dog tag and the coin, I had more airspace to work with, so I began to take a look at other ideas, and another brat suggested incorporating a map of the world. I thought, oh, brilliant. So this has been a fun project for me, bringing this together. Whether the BratPin becomes the national accepted icon of military brats, I don't think that so much as matters as it does to have something of this nature, something that we will recognize for what it is. When I went to go back to the beginning of the design, I wanted to create something that was simple yet elegant. And I think that's what the dandelion offers. Simple yet elegant. I don't need a flashy military brat on there. I think we know who we are. I want to conclude with a couple of comments I've received off the website. Thank you so much for this. My siblings and I were born and raised as Air Force brats. No one but a brat understands our life. I love that you put so much effort into this. I will post my page and spread the word as much as I can. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Another man said, just found this site. I ordered one for each of my 2 children and one for my daughter-in-law as Christmas presents. They never got to decide when, where, and how we were moving. They left schools and friends behind as we moved from assignment to assignment. They did not know aunts, uncles, or cousins because we were always hundreds of miles away. This will be a small token for my appreciation of their sacrifice. This man gets it. Another lady said, our children both made our decision to serve more than 21 years such an easy decision. They never completed 2 years in the same school, yet both graduated with honors. They were one of my 3 blessings in life, those being my spouse and each of my children. Thank you to my family for making our career successful. And that's signed by Gail. The next one, well done, Bob. I know how long you've worked on this on behalf of our tribe, and you have seen your idea come to fruition. Imagine how it will feel when you see one of the pins being worn by someone you don't know. I'm in the process of double checking how many I need for nieces and nephews and cousins, my sister and myself. Thank you again, Colleen. Right now I can't think of what it might mean to me to see someone wearing one of these pins. I don't think I'm ready to think about that yet. The last one that I received brought me to a stop for the day. Thank you so much for designing these. I'm an Army brat and proud to be one. I miss the life, and yes, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I bought 3 of the pendants on chains, one for my sister, brother, and myself. I wish they were alive to see them. They would have been so proud. I will wear mine with pride and place theirs on their graves. I think I will have found the closure I was searching for. Again, thank you. Signed by Terry. These are brats. And they touch my heart, as a lot of you do. And that's why I think that this endeavor is so important. And I look forward to meeting a few more of you along the way. And this project, certainly, when people thank me for it, everything was there. I lived a life, you've lived a life. Pat and Mary put it together in a book. Somebody wrote the thing on the piece on the dandelion. I am just the guy that stumbled across everything and put it together. So I appreciate your input. Look forward to hearing for more ideas from you, and look forward to seeing one of you someday wearing one of our brat pins. Thank you and Merry Christmas.